All right, good morning, guys. Thanks for joining me on the stream today. I'm a little late, 10:03. Kind of a crazy morning around the house today. Running around with like a chicken with my head cut off. You could hear my coffee machine warming up in the background, so that's why I was a little late. But we have David Peterson coming on in about 12 minutes. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm just going to hop over here, and I'm going to quickly do the standings update, and then I'm going to take a quick break. Make this coffee, give my kid to my nephew, who's sleeping upstairs, and then we'll bring David in. And we'll take a few minutes of his time because he is starting today, and we're not going to take up too much of his bandwidth here. But okay, let's look at the standings watch as we head into today. Let me just make sure we got everybody rolling on the stream before I do anything. All right, yeah, we're looking good. Good morning, everybody. All right. Blue Jays 2 up. They open a series with Boston. Big crucial series tonight. Yankees 2 behind them. They play the White Sox. Could get fishy there, could get hairy there. We'll see. Boston 5 back there. Detroit 1 game up on Cleveland. They start a series tonight in Cleveland. Cleveland has a chance to make the complete turnaround of the AL Central and take it over right here and now from the Tigers. We'll see what the Tigers have to say about that. They are losers of 6 in a row, though, so they're looking to turn it around. Seattle now 3-game commanding lead on Houston. That looks like that's close to being wrapped up. A couple more wins should do it, or a couple more losses, I would say, for Houston. The NL East is done. NL Central is done. NL West, both teams have clinched, but the division's still slightly up in the air. Dodgers 2.5-game lead in the wild card. It's really between these 3 teams: Boston, Cleveland, and Houston. 3 teams for 2 spots, so that's going to be awesome down the stretch. 6 games to go. It's going to be really, really fun to see how that goes. And then in the National League, we got the nail-biter city here. Reds, Mets, Diamondbacks. 3 teams for 1 spot. Giants, they lost last night, so we can probably count them out. But that's it for now. I am going to step away. And when I come back, we're going to have a couple minutes, and then we'll have David Peterson. But I'm going to go make this coffee and make sure everybody is all good and well at the house. That way I can focus in on talking to Petey, give you guys a good conversation. Then we'll watch some baseball from last night. There was only 3 games, and then that will be it. All right, so stick with me. I'll be back in a little bit. Thanks. Hi, Boo. All right, we're back, folks. Just give me a second here. I'm going to paste PD into the browser and we'll get this going. There we go. We got action. Are you seeing my screen, Dave?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, perfect. All right, well, welcome in. Baseball and coffee. I appreciate it. I know you're starting today. Nice, got the coffee ready. Perfect. I know you're starting today,
Absolutely.
so I appreciate a few minutes of your time. Really, there's a couple things I was thinking when I was thinking about you the other day. Number one, you texted me while I was on the set of the Yes Network, and it wasn't so much that I was excited that you were watching that I was doing the post game show where you noticed me. It was more so that I knew where you were, and so immediately I got very, very jealous of the food that you were eating inside the Mets clubhouse that night.
Yeah, that was yeah, I went in, grabbed my plate and sat down and said, "Oh, look, it's Otto,
I could
well-dressed
almost,
man on TV talking about baseball."
I could almost smell it through the television. I was very jealous of that moment.
Yeah, they've been on point lately. We got a lot of the new guys raving about the food here so far, so
Yeah, I mean, for the people in the stream that don't know, the Mets have the best home clubhouse food in the game. Tomas, Natalie, um, just crushing it. Kelly,
Kelly.
just killing it all day. So it's very hard. That's probably the hardest thing about not playing is not eating that food anymore, honestly. And then the second hardest thing, and the other thing I'm jealous about, is that you're in Chicago right now, and you had an off day yesterday. And obviously, these are huge games coming up, and this is the exciting part of time of the season. Regardless of how we got there, I'm very jealous that you get to be in Wrigley in a big game tonight. But I'm wondering, did you have a show dinner last night?
We did. It was not a big team dinner, but there was a couple of us that went out last night and got a nice meal. I think we went to Gibson's Italia.
Oh,
So
nice.
Gibson's the famous steakhouse here and then in this area, and then they got a nice little Italian spot that we tried out. So um, yeah, it was good to get a nice meal and get ready for tonight.
That's like a brother restaurant of the regular Gibson's, the steakhouse.
I think so. That's what it seemed like.
It's cool. You see that a lot nowadays. Like Ocean Prime, Prime. There's like steak. There's fish places that they have like Prime Italian places like
The
that.
quality meats, the quality Italians, yeah.
Yeah, they hit
You're
all
starting
the
to see
they hit all the
hit all the
going out
genres.
spots. All right, so I'm not going to talk any current events because that's not what I want to do. I want to talk about two main topics for you. Number one, you're 6'6". You're a legitimate 6'6". I'm like listed at 6'5", but I'm really more like 6'4.5". And I've always felt like it's a critical moment, like when you start to grow as a pitcher, like, and then I mean physically grow. Like you have this, all of a sudden, you have this growth spurt, if and when that comes, and yeah, all of a sudden your potential goes from like medium to like crazy high because now your levers are bigger. But it's like really hard to control those levers. As somebody who was able to figure that out and have pretty good command, being 6'6", what was your experience with that like?
Took a long time to figure it out. And I think it was, between seventh and eighth grade is kind of when I hit that big growth spurt. And I grew, I think, almost 10 inches my eighth grade school year.
Damn, that's
So it
early.
was, yeah. So it was like seventh grade, team picture, just everyone, boom. Eighth grade summer, whoop, and like just completely stood out. Um, and yeah, I mean, going through the growing pains and body changing and all that. And so it took a while in high school to grow into my body and see where we were at, and it started to come together in college, and then yeah, it led me to get into my professional career.
Did you play? Did people try to get you to play basketball all the time?
Yeah, yeah, that was when I got to high school. um, I was definitely pulled out of class and pulled out of different things to see if I wanted to play different sports, and I was getting ready to play basketball when my head coach, Coach Kavnar, Jenny Kavnar's dad,
No way.
um, was like, "Hey, why don't you come work out with the varsity baseball team?" And I was like, "Well, that's the end of all the other sports
Yeah, that's sort of
because I
so.
know exactly where I want to go and where my future's probably going to be." So,
Yeah, that's sort of similar to me. Like I played JV basketball, and what was funny was my growth spurt kind of happened a little later than you. Like it was more like between my sophomore and junior year of high school when I became like when I had like man strength all of a sudden, and like before that I was like tall, thin, skinny, whatever, and I played other sports, but I always felt like I didn't gain that beef, like I didn't get that beefage needed to play like a real like physical sport like basketball, hockey, football, or anything like that until it was kind of too late and I was already committed to baseball. So it's interesting how that works. Like, uh, everybody kind of grows at a different time, but I do feel like it's really, really hard, and people don't really understand like how hard it is to harness it. Just like when you're so big, like one day you're five something, the next day you're 6'4", and it's like, you know, it's like you're like Bambi out there, trying to on the ice skates, trying to figure it out.
yeah, it was tough.
I remember
Yeah, I remember too, like you talk about the weight stuff. It was that was the same thing for me. It was towards the end of high school where I actually started to get into the strength training, and um, that was coming to another level. And then it was like you see guys that were just ready to go freshman year, and you're looking around, and it's like these guys are doing something else, whether it's football or basketball, and they just got the weight, got the height. They're locked in and ready to go in high school. And for some people, it takes a little longer.
it's fascinating though because nowadays I see a lot of videos of like 16-year-old kids throwing 98 like at 100 miles an hour, and like it's almost like they figured out how to train earlier so they don't have to cross train, like they don't get pulled in other directions. They're like no super hyper focused from a young age, but then they just go like full drive line attack, full weighted ball, full pull down attack from a young age, and they end up being like 100-mile-an-hour throwers like way too early in my opinion. I feel like it's always better to kind of ease into that, but I'm kind of happy that we came in the era that we did because we got pulled in one direction because of results. But I feel like, at least for me, like I didn't really work out in high school, like with weights, really. Like it was all very experimental at that point. It wasn't until I got college that I was introduced to that. So there was no like level of commitment beyond practicing, if that makes sense. So the love of the game wasn't challenged early, which I think is key as well, because you can easily lose it if you're being forced to grind so much. Did you have anything like that? Do you have any experience like that? Like just allowed to be a
Yeah,
kid a little longer?
I think so. I think I was kind of on the end, and I feel like looking back at kind of when I was coming up through high school, I was kind of getting to see both sides of the coin in a way. I was seeing, when I played football my freshman year and we got into weights in the winter, like that was the first time I'd ever really been, or during the season, exposed to a lot of strength training. So that was new. And then towards the end of high school was when, we really started um, training pretty good, and with the Weiss boys and the Schmidt boys and all them. And so, having them as kind of an influence kind of pushed me into taking the strength training more serious. And then it got serious in college, obviously, when you have a strength coach and you have
Yeah.
people dedicated to the program. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was still, even in high school, that's when Perfect Game really, I think, started taking off nationally and the showcases. And so I kind of got to see like the travel ball, and you stick with your team or you stick with your high school or you play for your school. And then you start to see kids just completely, after their season, abandon the team play and just go straight showcase and do all that stuff. So I feel like I had an interesting perspective in those years that I was kind of developing in high school to see kind of both sides of that evolution.
Yeah, you mentioned Walt Weiss and the Weiss boys. A lot of people probably don't know, but you played for Walt in high school, and you grew up knowing Walt Weiss and his family, his boys, out in Denver. And I ended up playing for Walt on the Rockies. Obviously, he was my manager for a little while. He's a bench coach now over for the Braves, and he's super jacked. He's like pound for pound, one of the strongest coaches in the league. I'd put him in a cage match championship anytime versus the other coaches across the league. So I also wonder though, because you had a little bit of early exposure to like a guy who made it, right? Like a guy who's a real big leaguer, played a long time. Um, I feel like his advice carries a lot more weight, and I never had that person growing up. Like I had people to shoot for off in the stars, but do you think having him around definitely helped you chase the right things?
Absolutely. I mean, I catch up with him, try and see him every time we play Atlanta. Catch up for a few minutes on the field and just check in. And I'm very grateful for that experience because it is. I have a guy that played um, a long time at a very high level and was awarded for that. And to be able to have him teach us playing the game the right way in high school. It's always something that I've been grateful for and thanked him for because he did. Um, he showed us how to play the game, taught us the way to go about your business the right way, and he was a huge influence for me, especially at the time, kind of coming through high school and then just being able to lean on him if I needed anything in pro ball as well.
Yeah, I think about that a lot now. Like being the guy on the other side of the coin, the guy who actually made it now and played a long time. When I talk to kids now, even my nephew, like I can feel the panic a little bit and like the rush to be, um, that prospect like so fast. And I'm always trying to help them understand and help, especially my nephew, help him understand, that there's a process to this. And it does, you don't get any trophies, you don't get any money, you don't get any payment for being the best player at 15. There's a lot, you got to play the long game a little bit if you want to have a career in baseball. So it's really nice that you got that experience with Walt. I think that's huge. Like that's massive. But switching gears just for a second, because I know I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I have one more fun thing to get into. Being that you grew up in Denver and you watched a lot of Rockies baseball, there was the National League with the pitchers hitting. Do you miss that at all?
Yeah, I do. I think there's part of me as the section inside that's like the baseball purist misses that aspect.
Yeah,
Um, it's funny we're talking about this and Walt and everything. I was sitting in the clubhouse the other day watching MLB Network, and they had Kershaw's no hitter
yeah,
against you guys in Dodger Stadium, and De La Rosa's pitching, and um, happened to watch an at bat of Kershaw facing De La Rosa. And um, I think it's we're far enough away from that rule changing that you don't think about it a whole lot. But at the same time, there is part of it that was fun to do. There's obviously less on your plate as a pitcher now, not hitting, and just focusing on pitching. But when you think about the history of the game and the way we grew up and how many games you watched, and seeing the difference in the two leagues was definitely very interesting. And then seeing guys, American League playing at a National League park in the World Series and whatnot, um, and just throwing a little bit of another wrench in playoff baseball, I thought was fun. So, um, yeah, I feel like it's something that we're kind of past, but every now and then you think about it, and it was cool to watch and be a
yeah.
part of.
We feel very far removed from it now. And I was just hopping over and checking. I was looking at you got the opportunity to hit, so thankfully at least you got a hit. You got your knock.
Yeah, I got mine. Yeah.
I feel like that's big because I remember in 2021 knowing that it was going away. Every time when I was with Boston, every time we played an interleague game, that the guys got a chance to hit. Most of those guys hadn't had major league hits yet, so it was like this is your only shot. Like all of a sudden the pressure was on. Like you're either gonna get it here or you're not gonna get it. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I'm a relief pitcher, and the reason why I enjoyed it is because there's just more moves made. It's not as good for a starter, but I like the fact that there's more moves made because like it kept me on my toes out there in the bullpen, give guys a chance to pinch hit and things like that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up your career hit here,
Oh, here we
Joe
go.
Ross. Oh, a little breaking ball in the middle.
Yeah. This is after he hit me in the shin.
You got hit in this game.
This was my most active game. Yeah, then I think Lindor, next batter, hits a home run to right field, and I was able to just stand there on second base and watch it disappear into the
Oh, that's sick.
stands in Washington. So,
I was just saying this was a
um,
0-1 pitch, so he starts you with a heater down. Ooh, big hack there. Big hack there. And then I don't know. He thought you were on the fastball, so he tried to go to the slider.
There we go.
No, it's great. I love it. I
That
uh
one.
I think it's important. Like you got to get one like before it's too late, you know?
You have to. Yeah.
I wonder if there is anything on here with your exit velocity because I've been showing a lot of guys like funny stuff when they have like I have this tool from MLB. So this is the hardest ball you ever hit. 103 off the bat. Did you know that you hit a ball 103? Same game. Oh
That's the
wait.
same one.
Oh, that was 103. The double was 103.
Yeah.
And then this one, let's see this one. Curious on
This
this
one.
one. This is an out, but this
Oh,
is
yeah,
102.
Arietta.
Ooh, two guys on. The swing looks good.
Right at
You
him.
were hitterish. You got a little Nick Kurtz in your swing, you know?
Right at him.
I
Yeah.
could I could see it. Big donkey.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I kind
It
of
was a
missed
good
it a
run.
little bit. Yeah, it was a good run. My numbers are horrendous. I think I have 2 hits, but I'm like 2 for 27, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. All right, well, that's kind of it. All I got for you today. I was just gonna keep it really quiet. I wanted to. I know you're pitching tonight. We're definitely rooting for you. Oh, I guess one last thing was you made your debut in 2020 with the no fans, right? Then obviously that
Hmm.
led to 2021. You get that first career hit. Did you feel like it was disappointing to debut with no fans, in a way?
In I was just talking with someone about this yesterday, and in the moment, I don't think so. But looking back, it's kind of, the moment I was like, I'm realizing one of my dreams, I'm getting
Yeah.
to debut, play in the big leagues. I'm going to be a big leaguer. That's, and then, you think about it and you work your whole life and you're chasing this dream. And this is all I've ever wanted to do since I was 3 years old. And walk in and tell my mom I'm going to play in the big leagues. And then you get there and you get the call, you're told that it's going to happen, and then no one's there. And it's almost kind of like a bad dream, but at the same time,
So your family couldn't even be there.
no one was there.
That's right. I remember in
Just
the playoffs we had some people like that were
I
in
don't
the
even think they
bubble.
had the cutouts yet because it was like the fifth game of the season. So it
Dude,
was
that's
dressed like a chair night for all 45,000 or whatever it was at Fenway.
yeah, yeah, July 28th at Fenway. That's right. Also, it's really eerie in those ballparks too. Um, like in particular, like Yankee Stadium, Fenway, Dodger Stadium. Like I can't imagine. Like when we played, I was on the Yankees in 2020. We played at home in Yankee Stadium. It was super bizarre. Like
Yeah.
that didn't make any sense at all to me.
I mean,
Um,
Fenway it felt like a haunted house, kind of. Because I had gone there for a game, Yankees Red Sox in the playoffs a year before or 2 years before. I was up there for a wedding, and uh, Alex and I went with another couple to a playoff game just randomly because we were there for the wedding. And then seeing it the next or in 2020, and the halls are empty, it's completely quiet after the games. Like it's eerie, and it was a weird feeling, but glad we got out of that.
I think about it a little bit just in relation to even this year. Like you guys have had the three rookies come up. Obviously, like the crowd's on their side. Like there's been a lot of anticipation and excitement. Like that's a totally different emotional experience in a way. Like you're connecting with a fan base for the first time. You didn't get to do that until the next year. So it's just very it's just interesting in the context of this year with the three rookies coming on and how they've been embraced so well. So I don't know, fascinating to talk to you and to find out a little bit about debuting with no people in the stands because I hated it and I had a lot of years in it that time, but I can't imagine that being my first taste of it. Very bizarre, but anyway,
Yeah,
um,
it was rough, but
yeah,
it's still the big leagues. So,
that's true. As long as it's the big
and the
leagues.
fans, I mean, that was the thing for me. It was like I was so blind. I was just like, I'm starting my big league career. Like yeah, I mean, it sucks. There's no fans, but I'm getting to start something I've wanted to do my entire life. So, and then you bring fans back, and you obviously get the feel of it, and it becomes more normal. But
Yeah,
weird time.
yeah, that was weird. All right, Petey, I'll let you go. Thanks so much. You're
All
the
right, man.
best. Rooting for you
I
tonight.
appreciate it.
Do your thing,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing it.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Let me end this room. All right, that was David Peterson. Thanks to Petey for joining me. It's tough. I didn't want to ask him too much about the game. We got a lot going on, obviously, in Met World tonight. He's pitching it. When we came up with the day to do this on, I didn't think it was going to be a start day. I thought the Mets might have been a couple games up at this point. We could have a little more fun with him, but at the same time, try to keep it light. Try to have him watch him get a knock there off Joe Ross. That's always fun. So anyway, we will hop back over here. We will continue the usual program here. There was only 3 games last night, so it wasn't a crazy night. It's more about looking forward to tonight, honestly. Last night, the Giants season kind of ended. Cardinals, Giants. How'd JV do in this game? I didn't even see. Oh, Ray, good question. As you know, switch hitter. I have 1 hit from both sides of the plate. That's my calling card. I have 1 hit lefty, 1 hit righty in the big leagues. Other than that, I stunk, but it was pretty sick. Pretty sick to do it. Okay, Verlander 4 1/3, 9 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, homer. Looks like he got clipped by Ivan Herrera. McGreevy, 5 innings, 5 runs, and then in the battle of the bullpens, Cardinals were great. Fernandez, King, Leahy, Romero. Both teams were great. So this game was won early off the starter, off Verlander, Ivan Herrera. We got some funny talk in the chat, obviously, when it pertains to the hitting. Wasn't a good hitter, folks, but got a couple hits. Just curious to see when Verlander got clipped here. Here it is, Ivan Herrera. So this won the game. This tied the game up in the moment. 4-seam up, 4-seam up. Only 92-1 here out of JV. 108.4, 27 into the Giants bullpen. That tied it up, 4-4. See how they get this last run. You might be able to watch my at-bats. I don't know. It's a very long time ago. Let's see if we can find it in a second. And then, Arenado with a big hit. And okay, so then we had a Burleson hit. Curious to see how Nolan looks the last few games of this season. Looks fairly certain that he will be traded this offseason away from the Birds. We'll see where he goes. It's been a tough couple of years for my guy here. But if he's right, man, he's still Nolan. Look at that ball, laser down the line. I think he's tried a lot of things, trying to be great, and some of them have kind of backfired the last few years. But man, he's got so much natural ability in there. Definitely top 3 players I ever played with. So it's weird for me to see him not dominating. All right, here's how they score the run. So a weird squibber play at the plate, and it was bobbled. A lot of spin on that is what I'm assuming happened here. Ball's cued off the end. So that ball's got crazy side spin.
Bounces this one to Schmidt. He's coming home. No, he's not.
Yeah, was Verlander devastated? Let's see. Oh, I can't really see him from there. Can you see him from here? I guess maybe we can see it from the center field cam. Man, this camera is suspect. This angle. Yeah, I saw him on the homer. He like staggered. Yeah, this was him on the homer, JV. Yeah, he went and checked the exit velo there. This is inside baseball right here. Check out JV's head here. Hopefully we can see him. Ugh, god damn it. There's always a coach in the way. All right, watch him here. You see now he's looking where he's looking. He's looking at the exit velo while the ball's in the air. So that's his first instinct to see, does this have a good shot to get out? He probably sees that it's like 108 or whatever we said it was. Yeah, 108.4, and then he's like, yep, that's enough. That's going to get the job done. So, got clipped. Oh. Hold on, though. While we're over here, my guy's in the cut. My guy, John Jay. Just want to say what's up to this dude right here. John Jay in the cut. Coaching first for the Cardinals. Anyway, nah, he wasn't grilling JJ. No way. All right, Verlander's reaction was tough. He was devastated. Oh yeah, we're gonna try to see. We're gonna try to see if we can get my at bats. This might take a second, so bear with me. Is he gonna kick me out? Don't kick me out. Don't make me re-sign in. This research tool is fun, but it has a lot going on. Trying to reload it. Oh, I gotta re-sign in. Okay, this time I'm not gonna do it on here, so you guys can snoop on my password. So I don't think MLB would like that, but it's okay. All right, we're back in. All right. Ottavino. All right, we got to go to hitting. Man, what season? We're going to go to play log way back 2013. There's one hit. I think their first one's 2012. I think we might have it. Yeah, one's off Kyle Loesch right here. If for some reason they keep throwing me changeups in this game. Here's the actual hit. And speaking of John Jay, he's the center fielder. And if you watch closely, you can see him laughing as he picks up the ball because he can't believe that his friend got a hit. Also, that was Skip Schumacher who probably could have made that play at second. So a lot going on here. See, he's smiling. He can't hold back his smile. And there's Ottavino, still with number 37 on. Little changeup, broken bat. I don't know why Yachty was afraid to throw me a fastball here, but they went changeup. And Skip helped me out there on that hit. And then the second one came in 2013. This is right-handed off Zach Duke. This one I thought I hit pretty good. See, right-handed. Now I'm on number 0 too, so. If he wasn't over there, I might have got a double. But they correctly assumed I would be late. And so, Brandon Phillips threatening to do something. Who knows? Joey Votto said something to me here. Oh, Culberson liked it. They thought it was funny. I wonder what Joey said to me there. I don't even remember. All right, let's watch it one more time, and then we'll go back to people who know how to hit. Sick. So that was that. Let's delete all these. Cardinals, Giants. So there was also San Diego, Milwaukee. Check the box score here. Peralta and Pivetta. I spoke incorrectly, I think, yesterday. I think I spoke yesterday about how Peralta, this was probably his last start. Incorrect by me. They're going to have the bye in the first round. So he's going to pitch probably the last day of the season and then stay on his 5 days for the thing. Big development this season is that Woodruff is now hurt. So that's really hurting the Brewers. Their pitching injuries are chipping away at the thing that makes them great, which is their pitching. Also, I said Pivetta would probably be the game 1 starter. I don't know. He's going to finish up this year, it looks like, with a 2.87, but he did have 5 walks yesterday. The bullpen did their usual awesome work, really, for both teams here. Mears gave up 1, but no big deal there. We got any homers in this game? Yeah, wow. Oh, my God. Iglesias hit a home run. So let's go over there. San Diego and who did I just say they were playing? Milwaukee. Nick Pivetta. 112 pitches, got his pitches in. And then here's Iglesias home run. It's going to be a first pitch ambush off of Peralta. Damn. Nice swing. 105.3, the second deck. This guy makes hit records and he hits dingers. Damn, that's about as good of a bolt as he's going to hit, too, Iggy. Really good swing. He's got pop in there when he wants it. Just not the game he tries to play most of the time. But big swing there. And I said Mears gave up a run. Ground out, strikeout, walk, walk, single. So here's a big hit. A rise. He's tied the game. Can't get above him. Gets right to that. Ties it up. And then this is how they walk it off. They go sack bunt. So the same guy who hits the home run is up there to sack bunt here. Tough pitch to bunt too, but does a beautiful job. Gets him over. So now you have the man on third, less than 2 out situation for Freddie Fermin. He gets it done on the very first pitch. Hunts the sweeper here. Gets up the middle, ball game over. Padres win. They stay a little bit closer to the Dodgers, 2.5. So they have protection here in case the Dodgers have a tough week. They could potentially win the division. Otherwise, they're not gonna worry. They're just gonna keep trying to play good baseball and get ready for their matchup, which is looking like the Cubs, right? That's where we're at, probably. More than likely, I think we're looking at the Cubs. Yeah. At the moment, it would be Dodgers versus, whoever wins that last wild card spot, and Cubs hosting the Padres. So that should be an interesting series. I got the Padres right now, if they play that series. Then the other game was Sale and Gore. That game really didn't matter at all. So we're just gonna go. I'm just gonna go in the chat for a little bit. We'll talk a little bit, and then we'll have a kind of a brief show. Kind of a brief show today, due to the fact that there's just no baseball really yesterday. Do you recommend thumb tucking a fastball for someone trying to get more ride? Yeah, a little bit, yeah. A lot of guys, so what he means by thumb tucking is like the placement of your thumb. Now, when they say tuck, this is what they mean. It's a sideways horizontal move right on this bottom seam. And really the key to get really good ride on your foreseam is a couple things. One, it's the distance between these two fingers, and it's different for everybody, so that you can activate the ball releasing off your fingers simultaneously. You don't want it to come off one or the other, because that's going to tilt your axis a little bit. You want to keep it pinned straight so you get really good pure backspin. So sometimes you have to orient your grip, whether it's wider, tighter, more cheat one way, cheat the other way with the pointers. That way you achieve perfect backspin as best as you can. And then with the thumb, it just doesn't mess you up. Like if the thumb's tucked, number one, that gives you a little different style of a grip, but also when you go to unfurl your pronation, this thumb being tucked kind of delays that a little bit. So it allows you to stay behind the ball just a hair longer. So a lot of guys are proponents of the tuck. DeGrom tucks, Garrett Cole tucks, Scherzer tucks. So those are pretty good fastballs. Not a bad idea. In the minors, you started every game you pitched. Once you got to the big leagues, you basically never started again. Why was that? Why would they ever do that to any pitcher in general? Well, I was drafted to be a starter. I was, looked at as like a guy who could pitch to contact, could get strikeouts, was durable, all those sort of things. I threw a lot of innings growing up. I threw a lot of innings through the minors. But I had a couple issues, right? Number one, lefties. And the tough thing about being a starter is they get to stack the lineup however they want against you. So this started really becoming a problem in AAA for me. They would put 7 or 8, sometimes even the whole lineup of lefties. So at that time, we didn't have pitch design. I didn't have a lot of data. I was just trying to figure out how to get these guys out. So I would do a lot of 5 and dive. And that wasn't in vogue back then, right? It was all about going deep in the games, getting quick outs. So even if I had a good start and I went like 5 1/3, no runs with a bunch of strikeouts, it still wasn't really the target that I was shooting for at that time. So I had a really hard time with that aspect of it. And then obviously later, as time went on, the stolen base aspect probably would have gotten accentuated. That wasn't a big part of MLB until my last few years, but that could have been an issue. So it's really just the lefties, And then I thought as a relief pitcher, it also helped me to be able to pitch a little more often. I just thought that made me a little more consistent mentally, and I was a little sharper generally. So I like that. I also like pitching in the big moments. So that's kind of how it worked. But all that time starting made me a much better pitcher. It made me understand pitching different than guys who were just relievers. I had a lot of reps. I threw like 600 innings in the minors, plus all the time in Cape League and in college. So like I had a lot of experience being out there. And a lot of the stuff that I tried to learn then and maybe didn't understand really why I was trying to learn it or how it was going to help me in the future came back around later at the end of my career. I was able to utilize it, like ground ball ability, ability to face a guy more than one time in a series, like just different things that starting, I think, helps everybody. So the reality is most relievers are failed starters, and I guess I'm no exception to that. Of course, there are some that are relievers and go straight through, but you just get more reps as a starter, and I think that helps you in the bullpen. And then when you go back to the pen, you kind of regain your aggressiveness, if that makes sense. All right, Cy Young talk. Paul Skeen's year feels similar to last year with more starts. Does it feel like he hasn't taken that jump yet? There's no way he, Spectre, I love the question, but you're asking a lot of this guy to take a jump. He's one of the best pitchers who's ever done it through the first 2 years of his career. I agree. There's probably ways to get more strikeouts, but I think it's I look at the other truly great right-handed starting pitchers and I think about this problem a little bit. It's like you want to get as many strikeouts as you can, but that'll also probably limit your ability to go deep in games. So you have to kind of thread the needle there, and I think he tried to do that a little bit early. As you can see, the strikeout rate, like last year, 170 strikeouts and only 133 innings. This year, it's 209 and 181. I think it's a touch lower this year, but you got to sacrifice something a little bit to get deeper in the games, and he knows he needs to be out there a large share of the innings for his club. Looking at his pitch mix, he already is so diverse. So from here, he's just gonna have to see how people start hitting him. I would keep doing what he's doing for a while. I can't argue with anything he's doing. He's amazing across the board, literally above average in every category, which is insane. Even the changeup gets to negative vert. There's maybe a better curveball, but like his arm slot's low, so I don't know. I'm not seeing much to tell him, and that's actually a tough place to be in as a player. You always like to have something to work on, something to improve on. Makes it really hard when you have nothing to work on to see the stuff coming. Cubs take series if Tucker comes back in time. That's the thought for the wild card series. Saw you on a list of players who faced both Matt and Jackson Holliday. Are the only father-son duo you faced at any level. So I don't think I ever faced Vlad. But yeah, so probably the only father-son duo. I have some other interesting ones. Like I faced a bunch of managers, Council, Boone, Kapler, people like that. I'm trying to think, father-sons. No, but Matt and Jackson. Matt homered off me. Jackson, I threw him a cutter last year that was insane. This was a Coors Field wind-aided game. We can find that real quick. Mets, Orioles. So this is last year. We should go Orioles first as the top team here. Sorry. So I can see my name, know which game it was. Orioles, Mets, and it was 2024. Yeah, okay, it's this game. Ottavino. Yeah, so Jackson Holliday. This was the at-bat versus Jackson. And I go sweeper, backdoor, typical, to the four seam, and 16.4 vert's a ton for me. So that ball really rode for me. And then I threw him a cutter, 0-2 cutter, and choose him up for a pop-up here. But what's crazy about this cutter shape, and this was a wind thing, negative 12.4 on the cutter, horizontal. Most cutters are like -3, -4, -5. That's -12. So this ball took a hard left turn as if it was a sweeper. And I just remember that's the only time I faced Jackson. But it's just funny because but I'd known Jackson and Ethan going back to the Cardinals days with Matt Holliday. These kids used to shag BP with me in the outfield when I was a rookie in St. Louis. And then later when Matt came and played for the Rockies, Ethan and Jackson were always banging in the batting cage the whole day long at Coors Field. So really good to get to know these guys and then to end up facing them. Pretty cool. Did you go through the AL tiebreaker situations? I did not. I should. An entire lineup is a bit overboard, is it? Yeah, but it's amazing how there's not a lot of left-handers until you get to AAA, and then it's like there's so many left-handed hitters there in the big leagues. Pitching at Colorado before the humidor. I didn't get there before the humidor, thank God. Humidor the whole time I was there, and it is tough, but I love it. What do teams known for pitching labs and developing pitchers, Dodge, Rangers, Mets, do differently from other teams? Most teams have their own labs now, and they do their own things, and they just try to help guys and meet them where they are, because guys are going to the private sector like Driveline, Tread, different places in the offseason to improve their games on their own. They're being proactive in their own way, and then teams are just trying to make sure that they have the environment to meet those guys where they are and, you know, continue their development throughout the season. And if they want to go fully, if you want to go fully all out pitching lab with the club you're with, you probably can nowadays, which is a big improvement over where we were several years ago. So it's just constant ability to make yourself better and have people willing to help you make yourself better. There's no magic sauce there. Of course, different teams value different things, and they have different coaches coaching. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is who hires the best people. Mets have a lot of great people. Eric Jagers is the director of pitching with the Mets and the minor leagues, and you've seen the results. You know, they got 3 rookies in a pennant race right here. So it's not all pitching lab. Those guys are talented, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to have the technology to know what to chase and what not to chase, and to be able to fix things and improve. Skeens versus Green this week. That is a huge game for the Reds and just a fantastic pitching matchup. Probably Skeens' last start of the year, so I'll be locked in on that. Feels like there's another good layer in there. Maybe add more rise to Skeens' fastball. So I would be cautious, Spectre, of trying to make the fastball too elite. I'd be cautious doing that with Skeens, and the reason why I say that is because it will not ruin, but it'll mess up his sinker and his splinker and his changeup a little bit. Like, those are his plus pitches movement-wise, metrically, and even though the fastball's not, it plays because of the low slot, the upshoot low slot factor, his command with it, his velocity on it, and also his ability to read when to throw it and what hitters can handle it and can't handle it. But if he tries to chase that four-seam, then all 3 of these other pitches, the orange, the green, and the turquoise, are all going to become worse because he's going to have to do something to manipulate his hand to get more behind the ball to create more rise. Of course, in a perfect world, it would be awesome. And a few guys have managed to do it. Michael King has 2 distinct fastball shapes, both that are outstanding, but I don't think, if I were Skeens, I wouldn't chase that quite yet. Maybe that's a later in his career type of adjustment. Okay, what was your immediate reaction when they changed the rule to make it relievers had to 3 batters? I personally was fine with it because I like rewarding a more complete pitcher. Doesn't matter that it's harder for me. I'm okay. As long as it's the same playing field for everybody else, I'm good with it. You know, you don't like it, play better. That's the rule of the jungle, as we would say in baseball. If you don't like it, play better. So I just said it's a challenge for me to have to play better. But I never had a problem facing 3 batters, to be honest. I just thought, why have a 1 batter a game lefty taking up a roster spot when you can have a more complete guy, you know, like in a swingman role, taking up a roster spot that, in my opinion, deserves it a little bit more. I think it's wild to think about all the what ifs there are in baseball based entirely on a guy's situation where he's drafted. That's so true. Very true with me. Most teams actually saw me as a reliever. The other teams that were super interested in me out of the draft, besides the Cardinals, Red Sox, Yankees were 2 of them. They both saw me as a reliever. That's why they didn't want to pick me until a little bit after the first round and then try to rush me up to the big leagues. They kind of saw it right away. They have good scouting minds. Theo Epstein asked me when I was in college, what am I going to do about getting lefties out? And I remember being offended and being like, well, go ask the lefties I faced on your Red Sox team in that spring training game. Like, I had no problem with them. But I didn't really understand the game yet. I didn't understand the big league level yet. So he was spot on. I did have trouble. Of course, I had a couple good years against him, but overall, it was a problem. What did you think about banning the shift? It's okay. It's okay. I mean, more so for the defensive reasons. I'd like to see guys, you know, that are great defensively be shown being great defensively. Have more, you know, room to go so they can show off their range. I don't like that you can just put anybody at second base, stick them in the deep outfield shift hole, and a bunch of line drives are going to go to him. I don't know. I like being a more complete player. So, again, another change where it's like, if you don't like it, get better, play better. It's kind of the way I felt about that. All right, what else we got here? Why don't teams groom their bullpen arms other than the closer to go 2 or 3 innings if needed? They do a lot now in the minors. They do a lot of multi-inning stuff, and they do a lot of scheduled out stuff. The stuff that I don't like Stuff that bothers me is when you have like a leverage type reliever down there and he doesn't pitch back to back, because then you come up to the big leagues and you're going to need him to pitch back to back. Like, that's part of it. So I would develop in a system where you pitch back to back at least once every other week. Make sure that the body's ready for that potential demand you might have when you get to the big league team, and you can actually help instead of just being a kind of a cripple instead of just really being a roadblock to everybody else, because then everybody else has to pitch. What's a team that you have no connection with that you see having a great team in the very near future? Any prospects you're high on? I think the A's have a shot to be good with their hitting in the future. I still think the Orioles could bounce back if they could figure out their pitching. I think Boston's future is very bright, although I have a connection with them, obviously. I don't know a ton about a lot of these prospects. I'd have to look through. I'm excited about this Pittsburgh prospects, Connor Griffin, who was the minor league player of the year. He's going to bully his way up there very young. It's just tough because they don't have a lot of complementary pieces. I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't have enough information to answer that yet. Do you ever think about being a coach? I want to be manager or front office. I don't want to do any more coaching. Just want to do more. I want to have more power. I want to make more decisions. I want to be more in compete mode. I want to affect more things. What's the general consensus for players on rule changes in general? I mean, baseball players are always complaining about anything that's going to make their jobs harder. And right now you're getting a lot of complaints from pitchers because it seems like all the rules benefit the hitters and make our jobs a little harder as pitchers. But I always tell them it's a bad mindset to complain about it. You're better off just figuring out how to get better at it. You know, try to do it as best as you can. You might fail, but just take it as a challenge and realize you don't have to be the best in the world at this. You just have to be one of the best, whatever it is, 350 guys that can also pitch and, whatever. So it's just like, it's the same trouble for everybody else. A guy like Aaron Ashby, I feel like would do great for what non-closers should be able to do. He's disgusting too. I mean, there's so many nasty relief pitchers now that can go You're seeing teams use guys multi-inning capacity, swing roles, and they're nasty. And you're going to see a lot of it in the playoffs. You're going to see a lot of 3-inning bursts out of even guys like Mizorowski, depending on how he's going. I mean, different guys. They're just going to see a lot of guys with sprint work out there. But the Reds get in. How are they going to use Chase Burns? Will be interesting. So I think it's pretty fascinating to watch how different teams go about it differently. But at the end of the day, it's really just about figuring out that puzzle. Who's going to pitch all these dang innings you got to fill in the regular season, and then the playoffs, it's just how are you going to get the outs? Doesn't matter where they come from. Who can you trust? Who's going to get the outs? I have a fictional baseball league that I do. If it's cool to add you, what team would you like to be on? Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox, Rockies, Braves, Mariners, Astros, or Mets? Well, if it's fictional, it's put me on the Dodgers, like the Brooklyn Dodgers, that's where I'm from. How and when do teams decide to play someone primarily in a platoon? Feels like younger players don't get opportunities. So this is Emma Green. Great question here, Emma. This is another pet peeve of mine. Very few players get the keys to their position and get to just hit versus both. Very few. Actually, in my whole career, I can only really count like 5 or 6 guys that came through on my teams that were just like, hey, you're a young guy, but you're playing every day. Doesn't matter who's pitching. They always try to do this platoon thing because the numbers say to. But it does definitely hurt player development. It's so good for a lefty to face a tough lefty pitcher. It helps them with so many things that will make them even better versus righties and make them have a fighting chance versus lefties. But if they never see him, then they got no shot when they do see him. And I think it takes away from your game versus righties because, again, there's some lessons to be learned about staying in, getting the ball deep, going the other way, different things that you can't learn when you just face opposite-handed pitchers. So it's tough, though, because when you're in the swing of winning, yeah, you're going to do whatever it takes to win. Other people's development be damned. But I would totally agree that it hurts players' development to not get everyday at-bats versus pitchers that are even bad matchups for them. Do I think McLean is the postseason one if the Mets make it? Absolutely. Absolutely. At this point, I think there's no question. Do you think varying arm slots and angles help, both with Junk, Sensatella, Gilbert, all varying arm angles? Some guys are just able to do it. I love it. I don't think the hitters can see it as much. I think it's even more effective if you can throw multiple pitches out of multiple slots. One of my dreams in life, and I used to call it like total pitching, was the strategy that I wanted to do, which was like any pitch, anytime, any arm angle, anytime. So it's like really, really hard to predict, really hard to, get into any pattern, hard for the hitters to track your pitches, like just making it so many layers on them, making it harder and harder. I wanted to do that, but it's really hard to do it, and it's awesome when guys are able to have two different arm angles in space. I even remember Kershaw throwing some sidearm 95s, and I'm all about it. Back in the day, the pitching coaches would be like, don't do it, don't do it. But I think if you practice it right and you armor your body right, why not? Why not have multiple looks? We've seen Nestor do it. We've seen Tyler Anderson do it. We've seen a lot of guys have the occasional drop down sidearm. David Cohen was a guy when I was a kid, and I love the creativity of it. Love it, love it, love it. If Brewers win the World Series, how much will that help the MLBPA fight against the cap? Probably not much. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen this year, just this next CBA, just because there's a lot of TV money at stake. I don't see the league wanting to miss out on making sure those contracts go smoothly and all their partners are satisfied. The next one, who knows? Hail Mary. Thank you, Venisef. Appreciate that. Yep, they want to see Ronnie out there every day. Okay, here's a question about Antoine Richardson getting a lot of credit for the Mets' base stealing success. A lot of it is just like he studies so well, so he knows the pitcher's tells, and a lot of times it's all about your jump. So like even a guy who was below average speed like Juan Soto is stealing all these bases because Antoine's feeding him a lot of tells on the pitchers, so he's able to get really good jumps. They're pitching good pitches to run on. Basically, it's doing all your homework and finding your optimal chance to go, and then not missing that chance. And Antoine's one of the best at that. He's a true pro, unbelievable first base coach, unbelievable outfield coach, adding huge value to the Mets every day. Have you considered looking into OOOTP for a stream one day? I need to look into that more. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. So let me do some research on that, and maybe that'll be an off-season thing. Brett Beatty, prime example of getting platooned hard despite a solid year. Yeah, Mets just feel like they're in that spot. They're going to try to play all the number advantages. It takes courage to just say, screw it, I'm rolling with this guy in a big spot, considering they have all the projections smacking you in the face. So hopefully I get the opportunity to be in that seat someday, that manager chair, and I can see if I have the fortitude, and I'm sure I do, but to see if I have the fortitude to go with my gut over some of the stuff that they're trying to tell me matters over a large sample size, but I'm looking for right now, right here, right now, who can get it done. What's your favorite perk of being an MLB player? I mean, I love it all. I can't limit it to one. Every single thing. I love being in the circus. The story of Roy Halladay being sent back to rookie ball to rebuild from the ground up, so rare. It's not that rare. It happened to a few guys. It's rare, but you do see, it's not that rare because you do see some guys get broken down to the studs and then rebuilt back up and they come back like a phoenix. I can think of some other examples over the years. There has been a few guys like this. Even my friend Tyler Anderson with the Rockies, he kind of like had regressed at one point, fixed himself, came back, ended up being a long-time starter. I'm curious. Manoah is the guy that comes to my mind now with the Blue Jays. They're trying to figure him out. He had a Tommy John there in the middle. So it depends, but you can hit rock bottom and still come back. Tyler Matzik had the yips, came back from that. It's never over in baseball if you don't want it to be over. You just have to get better, right? If you don't like it, play better. Do you think that reshaping the league to East-West style university would be good for the game? I don't know. I do like I think expansion's probably good. We get a few more cities in here, and then realignment makes sense. But I don't want to make it where it's so East-West that there's not a lot of crossover of watching both sides. As long as they keep the balanced schedule and find a way to do it, that might be fun. But they also have to be careful with stacking the divisions too crazy. I saw some Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Red Sox. Like that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know. What was your favorite pitch to throw, and did it change throughout your career? Just whatever got guys out. Obviously slider for a long time, but then sinker, backdoor, changeup for a while. I was in love with. Would you collaborate with baseball YouTubers for some of these streams? Yes, and I will. And I'm gonna have Trevor May come on probably pretty soon, and he's gonna kind of do the regular show with me. We'll just go to the main screen and we'll just do it, and he'll give his thoughts, I'll give my thoughts, and that'll be fun. Obviously, I'm not doing that with the guys that are playing as much, but guys that aren't playing, let's do it. I haven't been approached with anything yet, Aiden, because the season's still going. I played this season. It's hard to remember, but I played a little bit this season. So just doing this media thing and doing this YouTube thing, which I'm having a blast connecting with fans like you guys. I heard speculation that some front offices can dictate in-game moves to the manager doesn't have as much autonomy. I think that has been true in the past with some teams, and I think they've probably found out that that doesn't really work very well. One of the pet peeves of me with the analytics is it's all mostly designed to show you what happens over a long period of time, like a sample size of infinity. When I'm looking for an edge on the day to day, so for me, the manager it's in his hands to get all that information, all these projections, and then kind of decide what to use on the day to day basis to put his team in the best shot to win that night. Or if it's early in the season or during the season, also figure out how to give themselves a consistently good shot every night. That means, balancing out your usage on your relievers, building up one guy's confidence when it needs it, giving a guy a break when he needs it, rolling out the same lineup every day for a stretch with a few guys, let them get comfortable, them get in their rhythm. Really having the pulse of your team, I think, matters on the day to day. Halliday swore by Harvey Dorfman's book, The Mental ABCs of Pitching. I did too. I actually have it right up there on my bookshelf that I'm looking at over in the distance. Read it religiously. Amazing. Just gives you some of the mental game that you need. Allows you to stop making excuses. Allows you to start thinking in a process-oriented way. Harvey Dorfman is a legend. Which teams had the greatest change in player perception during your career? Okay. So well, I'll tell you one is the Mets. Coming up at the beginning when the Mets were under the Wilpons, it was kind of like a place nobody recommended. Now it's not that way. People really recommend the Mets, and they do a great job. And I know they're having a weird moment right now, but this team, this group, the people that run this team, particularly the ownership, they're gonna get there eventually. It's gonna happen. They're doing too many things right, and I know they have a lot working against them, but they're doing too many things right overall. One of my pet peeves getting back into the sport this year is how much the Yankees change up the lineup. I agree. I also really like a consistent lineup if you can swing it. You can't always swing it depending on the makeup of your team, but at least 1 through 5 if you can, give them some consistency. Hitters tend to really respond to that. They tend to learn some edges within their pocket of the lineup based on who's in front of them, behind them, and sometimes that can really play it out. QTRF, these models should be used as advice and a way of thinking rather than simply the answer. That's how I feel. 10,000%. That's the perspective I'd like to bring to the dugout if and when I get that job. So, all right. It's an hour 10. I got to go take care of my kid. I'm leaving him with too many other people. So this has been a fun stream. We didn't really watch much baseball, but we did a long Q&A. I hope you enjoyed the Peterson conversation. We're going to get a lot more conversations going here, and definitely way more through the offseason that can be a little more in-depth and we can actually talk baseball a little more. This was a little awkward, obviously, with him pitching a huge game tonight. I don't want to do anything to get in the way of that, so we talk some other random stuff, and we'll keep it going. I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that we get some of these people on. If there's people that you want on that I've played with, fire them in the email. I'm certainly reaching out to everybody all over the place. I have a lot of yeses. It's just about getting scheduled and figuring everything out. So let's just do the probables for tonight, because this is the second to last series, and these series are freaking massive, and we're going to keep this thing going, and you guys are the best. We've had a great stream today. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Ryan Pepio and Dean Kramer, Rays, Orioles, Tigers, Guardians. Scoobles is the first time we've seen him, I believe, since the ribcage thing, so very curious how he looks going up against Gavin Williams, and this is just a massive series. I love the fact that this came down to be a massive series. Tigers, Guardians. Pirates, Reds. So Oviedo and Singer, big games for the Reds, and they're going to get the Pirates. So this is an interesting one. We all are holding our breath as well for that Skeens Green matchup coming down the pike. Marlins, Phillies, Cabrera, Sanchez. This should be Sanchez's last or second to last start before the playoffs. Scooble is still my Cy Young at this moment. Yes, Mar. I don't think Crochet has quite passed him yet, but we'll evaluate at the end. Wait till all pencils are down and everything's done, and then we'll take a look. Shane Smith, Luis Heel. This is a big start for Luis Heel. Not only do the Yankees want to keep winning, but I've talked a little bit about how I have him way behind Schlittler in the clubhouse for that third spot in the rotation come playoff time, but he's still going to be on the roster, and his whiff rate is just super low, so I'd like to see that bounce back. Red Sox, Blue Jays, our buddy Giolito's going against Gosman. This is a massive series. Massive series. This is the game I'll be locked in on more than likely tonight for the most part. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Giolito, Gosman. Nationals, Braves, Lord, and Waldrop. Waldrop continues to have a really nice rookie year. And then here's our Mets, Cubs. David Peterson, you saw him here earlier. And Cade Horton. the rookie phenom. So this is a tough matchup for the Mets. Hopefully Petey can pull out a great performance tonight in Wrigley, and the Mets can get themselves back on track. But we'll see. Twins, Rangers, Matthews, and Corbin. Season's over for both of these teams. Royals, Angels, Reagans, Aldegheri, my Italian boy, and both these two teams are done. Then Dodgers, Diamondbacks, huge game. Shohei on the mound. Going to be fascinating to see how he's used on the mound going forward versus Brandon Pfaadt, who threw a great game his last start. So Diamondbacks, can they hang in there? They're going to have to basically win out from here on out, I think, to jump 2 teams. Rockies, Mariners, double TBAs, and then Brewers, Padres, Bruce Zimmerman, Randy Vasquez. Padres still trying to win that division over there. Cardinals, Giants. Giants aren't officially eliminated, but I think they have to run the table the rest of the way. They send Logan Webb today versus Andre Palante, and then our last game is Christian Javier and the Astros. I think they're a wild card team now, but they have to hold on to their playoff spot, so this is a little dicey as they go into Sacramento and get Jeffrey Springs. Night stream on Wednesday to cover Greens live. That's a good idea. Maybe we will do that. Thanks, Spectre, for that thought. I will think about that. But that's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I will be back tomorrow. All right? Thanks a lot, guys. See ya.